Good afternoon, everyone. Happy 2026. I hope people have a very happy year. This is what I'm sincerely hoping for most of us. I had a pretty crappy 2025. I made it that way for the most part. Yeah, I made some mistakes. They cost me dearly. Luckily, I'm okay. I'm okay. My health is okay. I hope and wish for all of this for all of you. For all of you. So long as you're on the correct set of directions in the moral compass. If you're not, well, we got something to talk about. And here's what I was going to present for you folks today. The problem in the country is that there's still probably a good 50%, well, maybe 40% of Americans that still support this cretin that's in the White House. This, I don't know if he has dementia, or Alzheimer's, or, I don't know if he had syphilis and it has rotted his brain. I don't really care. Okay, and most of you don't either. The reason being, most of us, self-included, are concerned about their finances. Yeah. Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Are you not making it paycheck to paycheck? Are you saving a little money? Right now, some of the data says that Americans are saving about 5% of their income. Well, that's better than 4%, right? Right. Well, the number should be around 20 to 25%. And there's a lot of things that are skewed out of control. And then you've got this orange pus bag with the screwed up hands and the cankles and everything else. This guy's deteriorating before our very eyes. And he's just coming off more and more like a failed game show host. Yeah, that's what he is. He's a carnival barker who couldn't make it in a carnival, failed game show host. Now, here's the thing. The guy got fame and notoriety because The Apprentice, which was all fictional. Yeah, it was fictional. Then you've got people coming out. I just watched one this morning. I didn't catch the guy's name, but he was on Midas Touch. And he was talking about how they used to have to change his diapers all the time. The guy would just, as the man put it, evacuate his bowels at will. Yeah, if he felt it coming on, since he was wearing a diaper, he just filled it up. That reminds me of the old SNL skit called "Whoops, I Crap My Pants." It's just, he doesn't care. He's nonchalant about a lot of things. And I think he's had, anal leakage and the squirts for so long that it's just part of his everyday shtick, right? He knows he's going to shit his pants. Then he probably pisses his pants because he's got a diaper on. So he knows somebody's going to change it for him, right? Now, here's the problem. What most of us are concerned about, as I said from the onset, we're concerned about our pocketbook, right? Right. We're concerned, do we have enough money to pay all the bills, not feel any pain? Do we have enough money? And by bills, I mean everything. I mean your whole spreadsheet. I mean your living expenses, right? Food, shelter. Unfortunately, insurance is one of those. All the additives, health, everything. They're all added in there. Those are your finances. If you're not saving any money, you're probably just kind of living in a sense of temporary relief most of the time. Oh, the bills are all paid. I'm okay. If you're saving some money, you're probably, I'm saving a little money. That's good. And some people are saying, well, I'm only saving 5%. I want to save 50%. And I need to make another 100% of income so I can save that 50%. A lot of people are in that ball game. So this is what most of us are concerned with. We're concerned with the economics of everything. Okay, we want to make money, save money, maybe have our wages go up, have slightly no inflation. Well, there is inflation. There's still inflation. The downward trend in inflation came during the Biden presidency towards the last quarter of it, and it's continued on. The tariffs don't do shit. Okay, so there's money in the Treasury from the tariffs. Is there? Is there money in the Treasury for tariffs? Well, it says we've collected around $300 billion this last year or more. Okay, great. Of course, now he's going to bail out the farmers, right? He's going to give them like what, 15 billion or something. He should give them 100 billion. Yeah, of that tariff money. Right. Let the poor bastards rebuild. Let them get new equipment. All of that. Now, there's a double-edged sword there, as far as my opinion goes. I'd rather not see him give them anything. Why? Because they supported him. In my opinion, they are finding out. They fooled around. Now they're finding out. This is also true with the MAGA. I'm not talking about, okay, so there was kind of three calibers of voters, right, that voted for Trump this last time. The independents who just, they didn't like what Biden did, and they listened to Trump's lies, and they thought that he was going to straighten things out and make things better for him. And they're more concerned, like most of us, with the pocketbook. Now, I'm not so much. I probably have a little bit of moral political concern, okay? And yeah, I want my pocketbook to be good. And if Trump was doing good things for my pocketbook, I wouldn't bitch about that. I wouldn't give him credit because otherwise he's just an out-and-out, outright criminal. I mean, look at all the criminals that he's pardoned since he got in. I mean, felonious criminals. Yeah, now this is no good. So let's take a look at some of this guy's lies about the economy. Well, first of all, he said that energy prices are going down since he's been... No, they're not. They've increased 13% since this cretin has been president. Right. 13% increase. Okay, here's a really big lie. And this is the one that some of the financiers are buying because they don't care if he brings in 500 billion or 18 trillion. They really don't care. As long as they get a piece of that pie, either in stock trading or company investments or whatever. They don't really care. So this lie is U.S. is around 18 trillion in promises of new investment. We could hit 20 trillion the first year of my presidency. False. No. Since he took office in January 2025, it has not attracted between 18 and 22 trillion new investment. The White House documents a much smaller number, 9.6 trillion, and the investments include aspirational multi-year goals that may not come to fruition and future purchases or sales of products rather than only capital investments. Okay, lie, okay? Here's another big one. Now, price of gas has gone down, from the middle of the pandemic. But let's remember, the economic problems caused during the pandemic were a result of Trump administration failure. The failure of 45, right? Yes, he failed economically during the pandemic. It was a crisis. The supply chain got disrupted. And then a lot of companies, not all companies, started stealing. They started raising their prices way above what their overhead cost and profit structure was. Yeah, their profits, groceries, their profits doubled. Now, they don't make much profit. Maybe 3 to 5% profit is what grocery stores make, okay? So they increase their profit. We can go down the list, a lot of them. Another big one was fucking rent, right? Rent went way up. People are paying outlandish amounts of their income for rent. Over 30%. Yeah, some 50% are paying for their rent or mortgage. Now, the mortgage rates, well, those are fairly low, okay? 7 or 8%, that's not low compared to what I paid when I had a mortgage, which was 4.25%, okay? Yeah, so they're high. They're double what I paid. Yeah, and they shouldn't be that way. In fact, now, while I love my property value to go way up, up, because it gives me more of a chance for equity in the property if I sell it, it doesn't mean that I've got that money now, one. Two, I'm not burdened by a mortgage anymore. I did a reverse mortgage. And at my age, it's okay. I probably should have waited 5 more years, but no, it's okay because I'm going to retire, in the next 2 years. So no, it was a good thing for me to do. Most Americans are not in that boat. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't want to go into the cost per square foot of what people are paying for their mortgage. I really don't. Okay, it's too much. Okay, and the rent is way too much. Tell me, have operating costs gone up that much that an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment with utilities paid, you used to be able to rent here in the Phoenix area for anywhere from $575 to $800 a month, is now $2,500 a month. No, costs have not gone up that much. No, overhead costs, no. So they're ripping us off. So things are not going down in that area. Okay, gas prices, not really going down. Okay, the national average right now is $3.07, according to a stat that I got here from AAA. Okay, now some states, he's saying $1.99 a gallon. No, I don't see anything of that. Now, there was a few dozen stations in states like Oklahoma, Colorado, and Texas, as reported by Gas Buddy, with prices below $1.99 a gallon. But that's nothing. That's nothing. I mean, the lowest states are Oklahoma at $2.38, Texas at $2.49, Arkansas at $2.52, and Colorado at $2.53. The big, beautiful bill has the biggest tax cuts ever. Another lie. Mostly false, according to PolitiFact. The revenue decreases for major laws passed since 1980. Most tax laws prior to 1980 either raised taxes or cut them modestly. When we looked at the tax cuts at a percentage of gross domestic product, which evens out differences over time. Okay, so Reagan cut taxes in 81 by 3.5%. Okay. 2012, the Republican Congress passed a bill which was signed by Obama, ranked second. That one cut taxes by 1.7% of GDP and extended the cuts passed in 2003 under George Bush. Based on initial projections, Trump's 2025 law ranks third at about 1.4% of GDP. The 2017 law ranks fourth at 1%, tied with the 2010 law Obama signed that extended Bush's 2001 tax cuts. Bottom line impact on Americans' tax liabilities in the beginning of 2076 may not be as dramatic as these rankings suggest, because the 2025 bill extended the cuts from the 2017 bill, which would have expired otherwise. So people are already paying lower tax rates and won't necessarily see additional tax cuts. Now, it adds some tax breaks, such as for income from tips and overtime. Okay, but that's limited to $25,000, and for some Americans, 65 and older. Well, I'm not seeing a big tax cut on my Social Security because it's only affecting people that make below a certain amount a month, okay? Okay, also no tax on Social Security, mostly false, okay? Yeah, there's no tax under a certain amount, okay? 24 million of us are still going to pay them. Migrant workers and illegal aliens got 100% of new jobs. Well, that needs context. Yeah, number of native-born Americans working since he took office in January has gone up by 2.5 million, a 2% increase. During that time period, the number of foreign-born workers decreased by 1 million, a 3.1% decline. Here's the caveat. The data for these two statistics tend to be what economists call noisy, because unlike other employment statistics, these metrics are not seasonally adjusted. Okay, folks. He just, he either lies or distorts everything, okay? Now, here's the other beef that I have. He's pardoning criminals, felonious criminals, scammers. Yeah, I mean, the first one was the Binance guy, and now he just got the nursing home guy. And, of course, now the nursing home stuff and the child care stuff that's going on up in Minnesota among the Somalians, supposedly, almost every one of those has got a white person behind it. Yeah. So you're going to blame the Somalians? Well, you're going to say, yeah, you guys should have been more aware. You got some better counseling on what to do and what not to do, and what's legal and what's illegal. Now, some of those people are going to get deported if they didn't have citizenship. The ones that do, some of them are going to go to jail. Okay? And here's finally my last point here. This is not all about economics. People are desensitized to a lot of different stat categories. For instance, crime. People are very desensitized to crime, especially violent crime. Now, in a good way, violent crime has decreased tremendously since the millennium up to now. Tremendously. I think it's down, the statistic I saw was down about 5% or more than that. Yeah, it's decreased tremendously. It used to, it's down around 5% is what the stat says. My beef here goes back to what I said about pardoning white-collar crime. Now, in 2023, the FBI estimated that white-collar crime was about $300 billion a year. That's a lot. Yeah. And a lot of these guys are now not being prosecuted. See, what this group of shitheads, okay, from the Heritage Foundation that have influenced Trump with their Project 2025, okay, Trump just wants adulation and money. So the two things that he wants most are very offensive. The money thing, especially because he's in a constant violation of the Emoluments Clause. I mean, he had a fundraiser last night, New Year's Eve, had a fundraiser. They raised $2.5 million for a Jesus portrait they sold. They auctioned it off. Now, where's that money going to go? Well, they said that it goes to Junior because Junior's running the family trust, which should be outside the family if it was done right. No, the son of a bitch has made $4 or $5 billion since he got in office. Okay, so we know that's totally wrong what he's doing. He's in the wrong, been in the wrong, putting his name on everything. That's totally disgusting. It's totally disgusting, and it's illegal. Department of War, not legal. Gulf of America, ridiculous. Probably not really legal. Most of the world doesn't recognize it. Okay. So here's the thing. As far as crime goes, he's touting this big decrease in crime. Well, the decrease in crime had been happening all the way back, not beginning, but continuing through the Biden administration. So he hasn't done anything. Oh, no, I've had to remove National Guard from Portland and from L.A. and from Chicago. Oh, boy, Hey, the National Guard didn't stop any crime there by virtue of being there. Yeah, maybe crime rates went down because people are doing it more clandestine. No. So here's my last beef. People are desensitized to many things in general. They're very desensitized, and they've become dissociated from political consciousness. Politics is of the people, and we are a country supposedly that's by the people and for the people. And I would say, hopefully, with the people in mind. Not so. No, people are desensitized. Just like with crime. There's so many crime shows on TV. Most of them are ambivalent about the crime. Oh, well, there's people who were good who did crime, people who were bad who did crime, and blah, blah, blah. Well, this is wrong. Crime is crime. A felony is a felony. I'm not talking about misdemeanors. You see, here's another thing, too. Illegal migrants, they're not felons. They're not felons unless they've committed a felony here, or maybe they were a felon wherever they came from. But they're not an American convicted felon. They're guilty of a misdemeanor. So that doesn't actually, in most legal definitions, a criminal. No, they are guilty of misdemeanor offense, which is crossing the border illegally, okay? In general, people have become desensitized to crime, period, and violence especially. There's so much violence in our media and TV and our entertainment media, even, that people are desensitized. Oh, okay, so 5 people got shot this weekend in such and such city. Okay, well, no. Most people just don't give a shit. Most of us are concerned about the money. We want the money. We want more money to be able to spend on things that bring us pleasure. We want money to pay our bills and be in front of the bills, not behind on the bills. Not even breaking even, that's cool, but we don't want to break even. We want to be in front of the bills. We don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. This is what we really want. Now, the problem is that it becomes pervasive. That's why 77 million people, for the most part, I'm going to say, especially independents, voted for Trump last time. Right. They listened to his bullshit. Now, he had a proven track record of telling over 30,000 lies in his first presidency. What made people think that he was not going to lie this time? So what has he done this time? He's lied and lied and lied. Okay, this brings about my little thinking on lying, okay? Okay, so a lot of people lie sometimes. 91% of the people lie at least sometimes, okay? Okay, so there's people that lie sometimes, and they're harder to detect than other people. By meaning this, the other category is people who lie half the time, and then there's people who lie all the time. Well, I'm going to put people who lie all the time second, because after a while, you know they're lying. You know they're always lying. How do you know they're lying? Their lips are moving, or their typewriter, or their typing fingers are active, their keyboard's active. That's how you know, okay? People that lie half the time, they're the biggest concern, because those people, we cannot have any confidence in what they're telling us. So we have to fact check everything, especially if it concerns our pocketbook. And a lot of us don't even do that. I don't even have scam numbers for you, but they're way up there too. At any rate, folks, we don't need to flip based on what happened that didn't go our way. Right. Well, let me tell you this. What this asshole is doing is not going to go our way. Not 90% of us anyway. For 10%, yeah, a good percentage of them are going to make more money, and they're going to be happy as pigs and shit. And they don't care if they got to pay more for stuff because they got the money. See, that's the whole thing. A lot of us don't care about what we pay for stuff if we have the money. Right? Right. Or if we're making our savings goal. Right? Well, that's a smaller percentage. So there's the number on that. Now, Americans, the Biden administration, while I disagreed with a lot of what they did because they're too capitalist for me, okay? I am not a solid, hardcore capitalist. No, I'm not. I believe we need a certain degree of cooperative and socialism. State socialism, I don't like. Local socialism, I do like. Based in democracy. That's what I like. One person, one vote, and there's cities and communities all over the country where people get to participate directly in their town halls. Yeah, and that's big time democracy. Like these town halls that that happen in certain congressional districts. That's democracy at work. It's not democracy because that doesn't guarantee you that representative conducting the town hall is going to adequately represent the majority of his constituents. No, it doesn't. It means he's probably going to do what his donors want. That's the big problem. So, folks, here's the thing. Dems had good programs. They did. They had well, the Green Act didn't happen, but they had the infrastructure bill, which passed, which now Trump is just trying to cripple it every chance he could get. Everything they did that was good, he is turning around and fucking up, right? Why? Because it doesn't have his name on it. So he wasn't very smart, because if he'd have been smart, he could have made those legislations better and got Congress to make them better, and then he could have put his stamp on it, and things would have gotten better, and he would have got the adulation he wanted and still been able to steal the money. Because this son of a bitch wants adulation and he wants to steal money. He doesn't care how he steals it. He doesn't care if he steals it from the federal government, state governments, businesses, individuals. He doesn't care where he grifts the money from. He wants the money. Folks, a lot is being said about this guy and what a horrible, horrible leader he is and what a horrible person that he is a lot of the time. Now, there's a lot of people that have met with him and say he was really nice and cordial and asked them about themselves and stuff like, well, that's status quo shit. You don't get kudos for that. That's status quo. You should be doing that because you are the number one elected representative in the country. You represent in the executive branch. Now, here's the other thing, and then I'm going to close with this. We have a problem in this country, and that problem is a lot of people want the one great leader. They want the strong man who's going to pull them out of the shitter and make everything right. Our country is not structured that way. No. It's supposed to have 3 co-equal branches of government. Well, now it's gotten skewed because shitfuck wants to control everything, right? So he's doing everything he can to have complete, absolute power over the country. And some of it's working, and a lot of it isn't working. A lot of it's never going to work because we have 3 co-equal branches of government, even though it's not representing that way. So my beef with Congress is, okay, you son of a bitches, ditch all your big donors. Ditch them all. And adequately represent your constituents, especially in the House. The Senate, outside of a couple of things that they can do, they're a joke. They're a fucking joke. They're unnecessary. Why does a state like California have 2 senators and another state like Wyoming have 2 senators? No. No, it's not parity. That's unequal representation. So there's my beef with legislative branch. Judicial branch, it's a hard fight. You got the SCROTUS, right? The SCROTUS, the scammer SCROTUS. The SCROTUS of which 60%, well, more than 60% is in the orange pus bag's pocket, right? They are. Yeah. Oh, you got the one guy who hangs around with the one guy who's a Nazi memorabilia lover. Other guys are getting trips. They favor business over the people. No. Okay, so here's the problem. We don't need one strong leader. We need strong leadership in all 3 branches of government. Now, what is leadership in the judicial? It means following the law, interpreting a law properly, and if a law is not working, sending that somehow message-wise back to the people so that the people through the legislative branch can change the law. Okay? So, but we have a problem with loyalists in the judicial branch right now. The DOJ is a mess because scamming Blondie, right? The immoral Christian, boy, does she need to be a Christian. I wonder if she's like a Horn Church Christian. Anyway. Okay, so that's a big problem. The strong man leader is not the answer. The answer is unity amongst the 3 branches and the fact that they're representing the wants and needs of the majority of American citizens, right? They are representing our needs and our wants. Not 10%, not 1%, not 50%. 100% of us need to be represented, especially the 90%. And those wants and needs need to be taken care of. Now, you have to separate the wheat from the chaff, blah, blah, blah. I know. I've been down this road. Well, you can't do this because of this. They can. And we need regulations, but our regulations need to be common sense regulations based on what could go wrong and what does go wrong and how we need to avoid it, right? Okay. That's my rant, okay? Folks, please be sensitive to what's going on, because if you're not, you're going to make mistakes at the ballot box again. You're going to vote in representatives which don't represent your best interests. So please take a little bit of inventory on your last vote, okay? I mean, even people who voted for Kamala and voted straight, blue ticket. Yeah, I vote blue because it's really the only choice that I have. I was third party for a long, long time. I was a Green Party guy. I was in the early part of the Libertarian Party. It became pretty much fascist, okay? Yeah. So I was, and I'm still, I'm a DSA. I'm Democratic Socialists of America Party. Right, the faction that's in the Democratic Party. Not a mainstream Democrat. I'm not a moderate. And Bill Maher, you shove your thinking up your fucking idiot ass. Fuck you, Bill Maher. You fucktard. You think you know what Americans want because you go out and talk to a couple of hundred? Bill, I've been talking to a couple of hundred different Americans every week for 45 years. I think I have a better handle on a spot check than you do. You fucking IDF loving piece of shit. All right. Let's make 2026 the best political year ever. Let's get the change that we need started, because it ain't going to happen overnight. If you vote in Democratic majority in the House and the Senate and they don't get your job done, it's not because they're ineffective. It's because they've got a prick vetoing everything, right? Or because they face roadblocks with various different... You have to be aware of these obstacles, and you got to cut some slack. But when you're doing your donors' bidding, you're not doing the bidding of the people who elected you.